Hi, my name is Stephanie and I'm with Robbins Plumbing, and today I want to talk to you about a high water bill. First, if you're new to Phoenix, surprise, you use a lot of water during the summertime. But if you think that it's higher than it should be, even from a cold state, coming to Phoenix, I recommend asking a couple of your neighbors, one, what is their water bill? Because the sun sets things on fire here, and it's probably double what you're used to, maybe more. If it's in line with what your neighbors say, and you still think it's too high, give the city that your water is through, the municipality, whether it's Phoenix, Scottsdale, Glendale, give them a call. They have the history for your home for the entire time it's existed. And find out if it's within alignment for the same month for previous years. Now keep in account that the family before you and before that maybe had a larger family, smaller family, but it should be within $10 of what other families were using. If it's more than that, it could be that there's a problem. If the water bill is quite a bit more and you have that history based on, so let's say it's July and it's so much more, double a lot of times, high water bills are like, whoa, what just happened? It's usually an indication that there's a problem unless there's a couple of dollars of variance there. And then we get, of course, a lot of calls, people from Minnesota, Canada, people from the East Coast coming to Phoenix, and the water bill in the summertime is insane. Well, yes, because we're trying to have our plants not burst into flames. It's a thing. And then we have all these pools, and the sun's like, oh, I'm so thirsty. Very quenching. So it can be strong all day to set us on fire. But if your water bill is high and it's more than, let's say, $75 for, a multi-family home, we're looking at, there's definitely something being used that maybe you're not aware of. So there's a couple of things that you can do and kind of check on your own to see if it's something being used. It's not a foolproof test. There are things in your home on timers. For example, your irrigation's probably on timers, hopefully on timers. If you have a water softening system that's timed. You have lots of things that are on timers. So the DIY advice I'm about to give you on diagnosing if you have a leak isn't foolproof, only because there are so many variables. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check and see if water is being used in your home and you're not aware of it. So first thing to do, tell your family stop using water. Tell them give you 15 minutes, don't flush the toilet, don't turn on a faucet. All of these things will give you a false reading. So we want your family, put them in front of YouTube. They'll be fine. Give them a video game. Right, so we want them to stop using it, and we're going to check the meter and we're going to see if it's moving when it's not supposed to be. So my first warning, especially to my newbies to Phoenix, is meter boxes are homes often to demon creatures from hell. It is nothing to open a meter box and find a rattlesnake in there, scorpions, cockroaches, lizards, they're kind of cute. But there are other things that will literally have me screaming and running and my plumber's laughing at me. I don't care. No shame. That thing had fangs. Of course I'm going to run. So if you are in a city where your meter box isn't locked, which is most of the Phoenix metropolitan, the meter box is just sitting there, the lid is on there, it's easy to pull. But just know something could jump out at you. So don't have your face over the meter box when you're pulling the lid off. Be prepared to run, okay? I'm just saying. Once you realize that it's safe and there's nothing in there, or there's something and you're gonna put it on Facebook, we're gonna check that meter and we're gonna see if it's running. So meters are very sensitive. A running toilet, definitely gonna activate it and tell you that something's not right. So meters are a little different from city to city and depending on the age, but there's some kind of indicator on the top of that meter, whether it's a red triangle that's spinning or holding still, hopefully holding still, or there's a numerical dial, there's something that's going to give you an indication that there's water running. First, go yell at your family again. Stop using any water. This is really common. You have no idea how many times we go out to a client's home and we're going through this diagnostic process. Stop using the faucet, trying to test your system. So start by yelling at your family. They're gonna deny it, but that's cool. Go back out to your meter and see if it's still moving. If it's still moving, okay, we're onto the right track, that something's being used. But the next step is we're going to diagnose if the leak is going from the meter to your house or not. So the line going from your meter to your house is known as your water service line. At least in Arizona it is. I know a lot of other states, they call it different things. On the East Coast, they call it something different. In Canada, they call it something different. But here in Phoenix, it's known in the trade as a water service line. So the first way we're gonna test that is by shutting off the water to your home and to your irrigation system. So typically at the front of your home, where you connect your garden hose, is the shut-off valve to your home and to your irrigation system. And we're gonna shut that valve off. That valve either has a lever handle, known as a ball valve, or it has a circular handle, known as a gate valve. If we have a ball valve, we're in good shape. Those are really reliable. We can really trust the results that we're gonna get from that test. If you have a gate valve, my professional opinion is to have it replaced as soon as you can possibly afford it, because they are notorious for seizing. They're notorious for not working. And I promise you, if you're in the middle of a flood situation, you really want to be able to shut off your water, and that valve won't work. We're getting ready to replace 2 in a ceiling tomorrow. The reliability of the test is really going to depend on the functionality of the valves we're going to go through. So again, it could give a false positive, just like time devices can give a false positive. So we're going to turn off that. Hopefully you have a ball valve. If the meter stops moving, we know that the leak was either inside or on your irrigation system if you have a ball valve. If you have a gate valve, we don't know if it was accurate or not. But if the meter stops moving, we're in good shape. We know that the leak is not outside on the water service, and we're on to the next step. If the leak was on the water service and the meter kept moving after that ball valve was shut off, that's cool, we can fix that. So it's just, something, a leak either on a copper line, PVC, depending on what you have, that's a water line going from point A to point B. We can fix it, replace it, whatever's necessary, and get you back up and running and get that water bill back down to normal. And so as far as the next steps, so let's say it's not on the water service, we want to isolate your irrigation. It's very often a leak on an irrigation system that really skyrockets a water bill. So if you know how to isolate your irrigation system and shut that down, awesome. So that's our next step. Again, trusting that those valves work as far as our test. If you don't know how to work your irrigation system, that's where we just want to have one of our team members go out there and go through this process. While if it's an irrigation leak, we often recommend that a landscaping company come out and fix it. If it's not something on the irrigation, then at that point you've spent money on the landscaper and the plumber has to come out, etc. So at that point we really recommend that a team member from Robbins Plumbing comes out to diagnose what the issue is, because whatever it is, we can fix it. If the leak isn't on your irrigation system and that meter kept moving, then we know that the leak is inside. So our next step for diagnostics, pardon my dog, she is on the floor chewing something. The next step is going to be to see if the leak is on your hot or cold system. So this is another simple diagnostic test, very dependent on your plumbing system and if those valves work. So at your water heater is a valve at the top, and it's going to isolate your hot system. If you have a ball valve, we're in good shape. If you have a gate valve, again, my professional recommendation is for us to come out and replace it. If your water heater is leaking or you have a leak on your hot side and you can't isolate your water heater as far as avoiding a flood, it means that you have to shut down your whole house. So rather than just not having hot water for a few hours, you're in a position where you can't use toilets, you can't use faucets, you can't use anything, and that's a real drag. So if you have a gate valve, my professional opinion, again, they're not dependable. We've replaced tens of thousands of them. We want to make sure that that emergency shutoff valve works for you. But turning off that valve, we're going to go back out to the meter. We're going to see if that meter stopped moving. If it did stop moving, boom, the leak is on the hot side. If it didn't stop moving and you have a reliable valve, the leak is on the cold side. So if it's on the hot side, it can be a shower valve. It can be a leak underneath your slab that you're not aware of. It can be a faucet leaking. If it's on the cold side, it can be your toilet. It can be shower valves. It can be faucets again. It can be your RO system. It can be your water softener. There's a list of things. It can also be a leak underneath your slab on the cold side. But regardless of whatever the leak is, at this point, maybe you went, Stephanie's crazy and I'm not going to check all that. That's cool. I wouldn't either. I'd have stopped at the snake part. That's a no for me. I'm like, no. But if we're at the point that you know that there's definitely a leak on your system, or you have a high water bill and you want us to come check it out, this is what we do. And the guys don't run from snakes. They send me pictures of them. No. I've seen pictures of horrible things in my day. But you can certainly reach us 24 hours a day at 623-486-4657. You can, of course, conveniently schedule on our website at robinsplumbing.com. And whatever that leak is, I promise we'll get it fixed.